This morning, the opening bell just rang moments ago on Wall Street, and investors are responding to brand new inflation numbers. You see a little bit of a mixed bag there. NASDAQ up, S&P up, the Dow down just by a bit. But there is new data that just landed from the Labor Department showing inflation year over year actually slowed to the lowest annual inflation rate since February of 2021.
Prices, which we've been watching closely, down 12.7% in the month of April alone. Also worth watching, airline fares down 2.8%. Airlines have been warning people.
What we really care about in the end is whether or not something is best for America. And there's substantial evidence that proves it. Not just lip service, not just pledges, not just guarantees, but actual acts in writing that shows the nation stood to benefit. If that happens, the GOP wins the midterms. And the Democratic Party, as we know it, will be eviscerated. Because it would be the latest nugget of evidence that the American citizen has completely lost faith in the left, even when they believe in the moral message that is spewed, because we've lost faith in your ability to execute.
Well, boy, I'll say it again. I'll say it once. I'll say it again. I personally, talk to Kenny, trust the internet more than I'll trust the TV. And you saw from the intro, CNN was forced to admit that Trump had the lowest inflation rate in 4 years, 2021. Make that make sense, guys? Right? All the fear mongering, oh my God, Trump is going to lead us down to ruin. Your 401ks will become a 201k. All the Democrats were saying. You had Hakeem Jeffrey say, the GOP is going to start feeling the pressure. Inflation is going to go up. Inflation is in its lowest since 2021. This was some of the things that Democrats were saying. Like
they promised that costs would go down on day one, that they would address inflation. Costs haven't gone down; they're going up. Inflation is going up, and a lot of it has to do with Trump's reckless mismanagement of the economy, particularly as it relates to the on-again, off-again tariffs and the mess that he has made.
Trump has proven these people wrong. Like, what do these people have left to them? If you want something done, you don't vote Democrat. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. Now, I know the GOP's dragging their feet. We get on them too. But who can Donald Trump exert pressure to do stuff more? A Republican or a Democrat? I'll wait. The logical choice is during the midterms, Democrats get no quarter. Don't give Democrats an inch because these people will take it to a mile. You saw it. How you lose all the swing states. You lose the popular vote. First time that has happened to your party in 20 years. And you don't learn anything from it. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. These people, I don't know what they on, honestly. This is why I say Democrats, they trick people into voting for them. Look at the message. Inflation is gonna go up. What evidence did he didn't suggest anything, any evidence, merely politics. This is all it was. And the Democratic Party, I'm gonna show you evidence how the Democratic Party is a party for themselves, about themselves, and for themselves. Like they only care about them winning, they only care about them being in control, they only care about them having power. That's all they care about. They don't care about giving good outcomes to the American people. And America is getting a first-hand experience of that. Donald Trump went to Saudi Arabia. He secured a $1 trillion investment from Saudi Arabia. Democrats can say nothing. All they can do is outrage about the fact that he was given a plane by Qatar. But the point is Donald Trump is bringing investment into America. Instead of America just giving off of itself to everyone else and getting nothing back, Trump is making sure we're getting something back. And this is why you see the stock market reacting the way it does. And does Democrats having any sense of humility? Hell no. These people are some despicable, deceptive people. And I'm talking about the politicians. I just think the voters get duped easily because they let their emotions cloud their sound judgment. If you had sold stock during April 2nd, you lost out on a lot of gains. I have actual economic You have economic losses tied to the fact that you listen to the Democrats. Banks have to eat crow right now because they predicted an 80% or 65% chance of a recession, and they backtracked those statements. As a 29-year-old man, I'll never listen to anything I hear on the television ever again. The internet is undefeated. Let me know in the comment section if you agree. But let's check out this clip of Biden had news recently of the fact of his deteriorating health. And I'll play you clips of how the media, aka the television, went out of their way to gaslight anyone who thought differently. Let's take a look.
And get over it. Obviously, there was some deception, but would you have to move past it now? But nobody was fooled once they put eyes on Joe Biden.
But it wasn't just deception about a campaign. The man was the sitting president of the United States. There's more at stake here than just politics. There's in-the-moment decision-making. Was the country at risk? Who was making decisions on behalf of the country? Because obviously the president was impaired, and there were people who knew it. There were people, those same people were lying about it publicly. And now the real question is, who was making decisions behind the scenes? You can't just move past it. It happened, and you can't move past it.
Why didn't any of the... How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no I can't. That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline. President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right?
Right.
More so?
Right.
Right. And the guy who's his chief opponent is only 3 or 4 years younger than him.
Exactly.
I mean, you have questioned President Biden's age, mental fitness, ability to lead. Of those supporting Biden, you said, quote, shame on all of you pretending everything is okay. You're leading us and him into a disaster. Do you worry that you damaged him at all? I don't doubt that you got hugs and handshakes behind closed doors today, and maybe even publicly, some of them because they like you personally. But I've heard a lot of really nasty stuff about you from your Democratic colleagues. Sure. I mean, just like, what is he thinking? Exercise in narcissism. I mean, false claims to the Wall Street Journal about President Biden's mental fitness and acuity. He's 81, and his memory, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible, but I don't understand the outrage. Quote, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping, unquote. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, which is run by the Murdochs. Beyond the headline, there is some critical nuance here. The article is mostly based on observations of Republicans, with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy the only one going on the record. They do note in the article that most of the criticism comes from Republicans. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
The Russians are trying to make us and the public not trust our election integrity. Joe Biden has dementia, all this stuff.
And then when the media gets accused of doing a cover-up, they'll lie in your face and say, no, we were duped just as much as you did. You were. Dean Phillips called it out. He got it. This is how, for themselves, the Democratic Party really is. The Democratic Party is a party built on deception. No one can argue with that. No one can argue with that. There's too much evidence out here. No one's above the law unless you're a Biden. No one's above the law unless you're a Democrat. Two-tier justice system. You go after Trump before you go after Joe Biden, Mike Pence. Make it make sense. Oh, we don't want to weaponize the criminal justice system. We don't want to weaponize the DOJ after you finish just weaponizing the DOJ. Now you don't want it to come back and blow up in your face. You don't want it to backfire in your face. I'm tired. I'm tired of the deception. People giving filtered information to try to presume some type of framing and then look at recent reports. No one ever hid Biden's mental decline. That wasn't possible. They just lied about it, and Axios helped. President Biden remained a vigorous, healthy 80-year-old male who is fit to successfully execute the duties of the president, Kevin O'Connor wrote in a medical memo. Exclusive. This is May 13th, 2025. 2025. Joe Biden's physical deterioration was so severe that advisors privately discussed the possibility he needs to use a wheelchair if he won re-election. Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson wrote in their new book. So now that they can make money out of it, now they want to tell you the truth. These reports were going on, but no. The media isn't trying to cover up Biden's physical and mental decline. No. We're not doing that. And you want me to trust them? Here's another thing, because, we talking about the economy technically, but it just goes to show the deception that these people are willing to do to get their way. All the media, all liberals, all Democrats, all they care about is being managed and controlled by the Democratic Party. That's all they care about. They don't care if it's good for America. They don't care if it's the best. It makes the most sense for America. And that's the problem I have as a man who's black. If I go things based on what's personally beneficial to me, Donald Trump's benefiting me. My stocks, I just checked, are up 14% compared to last month. So I have made more money. I never sold my stocks because I'm a long-term investor. And people are asking me, how can you vote for Trump as a black man? Trump's out here securing trillion-dollar investments from Saudi Arabia, looking out for America's best interests, forcing pharmaceutical companies to make more drug prices fairer for Americans, make us pay what the Europeans pay, spread the cost around instead of concentrating all their costs in America. A country that only represents 4% of the population, but we are responsible for 75% of pharmaceuticals revenues. Trump is trying to do executive orders to resolve that. Yet liberals and their imaginary world, here's a new thing, liberals suffer more from imagination. Liberals suffer more from imagination than from reality. The reality of Trump is he's just a man that's doing things differently than you, that you want differently. Liberal economists are shocked. Why are you shocked? If you're a liberal economist, if you're an economist, you should know that there was a possibility that Trump was right on this issue. But because of most economists are liberal, their bias clouded their sound judgment. And this is what I point out. An honest bias is better than a dishonest objectivity. And this is what the liberal bias and liberals in the media, journalism, and these experts have shown themselves to be. I don't care how much of an expert you are. If you don't have the discipline to weed out your biases off of your analysis, it will be inaccurate. New data from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics show 800,000 jobs from last year never existed. The Biden administration roughly overestimated jobs and quietly revised them down time and time again. The Biden administration and the media lied to our face. Exclusive. Tell me something new. Labor is an opinion piece. Labor Department admits hundreds of thousands of jobs from Joe Biden were fake. Just like the narratives from the media are fake. Just like their outrage about inflation was fake. And this is the funny part. And then they have the gall to act like they're doing your best interest, America. Malcolm X said it best. The media is the most dangerous entity in the Western Hemisphere. It can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. It can make a president bad when a president is good, and make a good president look bad. Like, make it make sense. Look at the coverage they gave Joe Biden. Joe Biden caused us more damage. Joe Biden caused us more economic harm. Highest inflation rate in 40 years, Joe Biden. And how the media reported it. Inflation was transitory. They said that. Yes, they said that out of their mouth. Inflation was transitory. Joe Biden suffered 2 negative GDP quarters. And the media spun it as that's not really a recession. Trump suffered 1, and they were trying to predict a Trump recession. I did a video on it. The Trump recession is agenda-driven reporting. And this is what the media exposed themselves to be, an agenda-driven reporting. Any economist that is a liberal, to me, is agenda-driven. They give agenda-driven analysis. And this is why they've been proven wrong time and time again, because they don't tell you what's happening in reality. They're not telling you their observations of reality. They're telling you what they want to happen in reality. They're telling you their imagination because they suffer more from that than from actual reality. But I digress. I'll leave it off there because I'm about to go on another tangent if you let me keep talking. It's crazy. It's crazy to me how these people try to deceive me, lie to me in my face. Like I don't have eyes. Like the internet don't have receipts. And they thought it was going to go well? And they're surprised why the American people trust them less than a used car salesman. Make that make sense. The least trusted person right now in America, right now as of May 13th, 2025, is a liberal journalist. Actually, a liberal in general. I'm having liberal fatigue. I'm done with the liberals. I'm tired of them now. Anytime I find out someone's a liberal, I'm always looking at them like, okay, you might be lying to me. Oh, you might be regurgitating false information you got from your television. Everyone can see it now. Most Americans can see it now. And 2026 will be a referendum on the media, on their bias, on their narratives. And as you saw from the intro, Stephen A. Smith know it best. If Donald Trump come out and he continues on this trajectory heading into 2026, Democrats are done. And I want to end off this video with this clip.
He said he would faithfully uphold and execute the laws of this land, not mean it when he decided to let millions upon millions of people into the country, because he did not execute the laws.
I thought that you were going to squirm out of that question.
I'm not squirming.
And yes, you did. And that's why I prepared for it, because I want to read you something. At the core of Trump's candidacy is a call for greater executive authority with willful disregard for the constitutional limits placed on our chief executive. Trump especially promises to force individual companies to do things he wants them to do, or else he promises punishment to those who displease him, which appeals to the miserable man at the airport bar. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, I wrote it.
Exactly.
And here's
so
the deal.
what he hasn't
And
changed, so what has changed about you?
And here's the difference between then and now. This country has been invaded. The president was elected
So
to
you
end the
changed your
invasion.
opinion on the Constitution?
My opinion is the president needs to pull every lever he can to solve illegal immigration.
So you've answered
crisis.
that question by saying that you don't mind him being unconstitutional.
That every immigrant here is the same. You can't believe that because
Yes.
they're not. They're not.
I do.
There's some good, there's some bad. There's some criminal,
I
they're
believe,
not.
I believe
And how
everybody
do you-
who's here illegally
hear
is
this
here
out.
illegally.
How do
Not
you
all are
differentiate?
violent, but all are here
But
illegally.
how do you differentiate if nobody gets a hearing, if you don't have due process? How do you distinguish one from the other?
Well,
so what you're saying is every person that's here in this
You see the deception here? How can you not know someone's here illegally? All I have to do is, you have paperwork? No. If you're a legal immigrant, like my parents were, you have paperwork saying, yeah, here's why I can be here. Here's my court order. Here's my my status. Simple. If you can't produce those papers, you never got it because you came here, you crossed the border. How can you receive legal documents if you crossed the border illegally, unless you got caught by ICE? And even then, Biden was giving them temporary status. He was weeding around the lines of the law. He wasn't upholding the Constitution because the federal government is responsible for the border of the country. Securing the border was an affront to the Constitution, but did these liberals care about it? No, they didn't, because they lump immigrants all the same. They don't make a deviation between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant. And that's the problem with the Democratic Party. And the reason why they play dumb like this is because they benefit from illegals coming into the country over the border. Because they know, hey, you give them enough time, they become citizens, they boost up the population numbers of blue cities, blue states, giving Democrat voters more power on the Electoral College. This is why they want them in the country. This is why they're so desperate to keep them in the country, even if they're criminal illegals. I'm tired of these liars, bro. Everything they project on Trump is secretly what they're doing. They call him a racist, it's secretly what they are. DEI, racism under new management. Look how they're reacting to white refugees from South Africa. Look how they react to them. But they want to call people racist. Deception. Democrats means D for deception. Deceiving people left and right so they can maintain their power and control. But if you look at every objective measure, most of these blue cities, blue states are operating at a budget deficit. And what was the outcomes for those budget deficit? Nothing but negativity. You overspend on teachers union. Look at the education system in Chicago, one of the worst in the country. Where your money's going to? A lot of these democratic cities, they don't produce any outcomes. All they want to do is manage stuff. They want to manage a decline. They want to manage failure. That's what they want. That's what you vote for if you vote for a Democratic politician. You just want them to manage failure. You don't want actual outcomes. You don't want actual solutions. And that's why I say Republicans, they got a great chance to run the politics for 10 plus years if they become the party that just get ish done. If Republicans embrace that brand, the Democrats ain't winning ever. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and your insights on this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.